Good afternoon and welcome to Garden Plaza of Valley View. Pam Sternberg joining us, Kevin Miller here. We've got a very special guest. You know, it's so funny. We're having such a good time. I almost blew the intro, but good to have you with us.
I'm glad you didn't blow the intro.
Yes. So here we are. We've got Bert Strom with us. He's going to share with us many of his stories and adventures, and obviously he's already laughing in the bullpen. But Pam, your thoughts, and where would you like to start today?
I think really what I'd like to say is with Veterans Day coming up and we look at our residents, Bert is truly someone who embraced his community, embraces our community, and does so much for everyone here that it's great to be able to honor him today, listen to his story, and really know what people bring to the table to make improvements in life.
Well, Bert, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, where should we begin, sir? By the way, thank you for your service. We appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Well, what does it mean to you to serve our country, sir?
Well, I've lived with the American flag for almost, 80 to 82 years now. To me, that is something that needs to be protected and served for. And I feel that when my time came up and they drafted me, I felt that it was an honor to serve my country. And after I served my 2 years and was out 90 days, I got recalled to go with the National Guard unit, and I put in another year. And everybody said, well, you put your time in. And I said, well, if they need me, I guess they can have me. And I was proud to do it. And to me, that's service to my country.
You know, Bert, I think that how you've carried that out now in your life now, can you share a little bit with everybody so they know how special you are? You have a flag collection, you have so many things you've done with the Coalition for the Blind. You just have a great story.
Well, I don't think it's amazing, or I don't think it's special. I think I'm just like anybody else. I just happen to be lucky and be in a good place. Valley View has been my home for 12 years, 6 months, and 2 days now. So I can't remember the minutes, but it's been a nice place to be, and people are very friendly. The staff here is great, and I've seen other facilities such as this when I was sighted, and I've seen some of them or been around them when I have no sight, and as far as I'm concerned, the others are nice, but this is the best.
Also, you served with the Forest Service for many years also, which is a whole story within itself.
Yeah, I started right out of high school in 1955 in North Idaho in a program called BRC, Blister Rust Control, where we went out and we pulled up wild currants and wild gooseberries. That is an intermediate plant that allows the white pine blister rust to infect other trees. And that's how I started, and I just kept staying with the Forest Service and advancing, and I spent 39 years and ended up retiring here in Boise in 1994. With 39 years, I retired as the assistant fire staff with responsibilities for pre-suppression. That was everything that goes on before the fires are actually attacked or taken care of. So I've had experience all the way from North Idaho, just south of Coeur d'Alene, all the way to the Boise. And I ended up fighting fire in every western state in Canada with the exception of Texas. And I never made it on a fire in Texas, but the rest of them, I was on an overhead team, both a Type 1 and a Type 2 overhead team suppress fires, and it was an experience that I enjoyed. Camaraderie with other team members were just tremendous, and I remember those trips and those long days and long nights out on the fire line, and it was a great thing to do and experience. So 39 years worth. And then when I retired from the Forest Service, I went back to work, and I went to work for the Idaho Department of Lands, and I worked for them about 6 weeks short of 10 years. So I put in about 49 years in the state of Idaho fighting fire.
That's incredible. You've also mentioned in your conversation about you not being sighted. Can you tell everybody a little bit? I mean, I'm looking at you today and I know your story. Can you tell us a little bit about your vision?
Well, in 2 words, I have known none. No, in 20, it's about 20, well, I can't remember. I know I lost all my sight in 2004. But about 2 years before that, I noticed some stringers running around in my eyes, and so I went to see Dr. Trotta here in Boise, and he said that's blood in there, and you have a detached retina, which he tried to fix by using laser work and stop the bleeding, but with all the laser work, it completely destroyed the retina. So, and he told me that if I lost that one eye, chances are I'd probably lose the sight in the other eye. So in 2004, on Valentine's Day, I was in having surgery on my other eye, and Dr. Trotta could not stop the bleeding, and so he had to take out the retina on that eye also. So I have no sight in either retina. They're both damaged, and so that's when I became totally blind. I have no usable vision. The only thing I have, if I go outside and look up at the sun, or somebody snaps a flash bulb, I can see a little flash, but that's about it. So it's been a different experience. I have to give a lot of credit to all these tremendous things that people feel I do, to both the Commission for the Blind here in Boise, that started me out in training and how to take care of myself, how to get around by myself. And then I got involved with the Veterans Affairs and went on to some more advanced training, both over at American Lake out of Tacoma, Washington, and to learn how to do things, how to use a computer, how to use an iPhone, how to use all the electronic technology that we're now using to help the vision impaired or the blind people out.
Let's take next section to talk a little bit about that, Bert. If we can, let's wrap this one up, and then let's talk a little bit about some of your... Having trouble hearing me?
I can't hear you.
Some of the latest experiences you've done. So
well,
let's come back with that in the next section. Right, Kevin?
Yes, Pam, we will come back to that in a minute. Bert, stand by. We can't wait to hear more of your story. So inspiring here as we get ready to celebrate Veterans Day here in the state of Idaho. I want to remind everybody you're listening to 107.5 FM, 580 AM, Garden Plaza of Valley View. The show, Welcome Home, Saturdays from 2 to 3 p.m. You're listening to KIDO Talk Radio. KIDO Talk Radio, welcome back to Welcome Home, Garden Plaza of Valley View. As we continue on talking to Bert Strom, Pam Sturberg joining us, General Manager of this great home, this wonderful place where we have so many memories, and we love sharing them every Saturday from 2 to 3.
Bert, you and I were just talking, and you can repeat maybe how you say that your hearing hasn't improved and the changes you've seen since you lost your sight.
I don't believe that your hearing improves just because you lose your sight. I just believe that you have to use something to compensate, and hearing is very critical to me, just for understanding, recognizing people. I've learned since I lived here for a number of years, a lot of the people I associate with, I can identify them immediately just from their voice. And so I think I listen more, pay attention to more of what's going on around me. But that's just my way of trying to handle the situations I get involved in. The last adventure that really helped me, I just came back from, well, I took a week's trip up to Sitka, Alaska, the end of August with my family, and visited with all friends up there, and then I came back and had 2 days or 2 weeks of time here, and then I've just got back from 4 weeks of training down in Tucson, Arizona at the training center down there for the blind or visually impaired. And I guess there's a lot of confusion about visually impaired. Most of the people in this building, I think, their vision impairment is at all different degrees, but most of them are suffering from macular degeneration. And to me, that's what vision impaired is, and I consider myself blind. I see nothing. But that's just my way of thinking about vision impairment, and it's a sad thing for the people here to have to put up with when you're losing your sight slowly. I'm fortunate that I lost mine all of a sudden, and I didn't have to linger with it. So.
And how has the Coalition for the Blind, both statewide and with the veterans, what part have you served with them? You've done so much in the community and with other veterans.
I went to the Commission for the Blind right off. My son told me when I lost my sight and in 2004, he says, "Dad, you've got to get some training if you want to live somewhat of a natural, normal life." And he said, "I think what we need to go is go down to the Commission for the Blind and see what they can do for you," which I did. And they said, "Yes, we can work with you." And so they put me with about 16 teenagers and young people. I was 68 years old at the time, and I got involved with those people, learning how to cook, how to get around with the white cane. I learned Braille. I learned how to identify and mark things so I could deal with it. It was a great adventure, and I really enjoyed with those young people. The day I went first down there, I went down on the access bus by myself. I stepped off the bus, and 2 or 3 of these young people came and grabbed me and got me up into the building and kind of got me acquainted with the place. So that's where I basically started all my basic training, was at the Commission for the Blind, and I have to thank them for doing a good job of getting me started. And then they said, "Well, you're a veteran, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And they said, "Well, you need to get a hold of Valerie Duffy. She's the VIS coordinator, the Vision Impairment Coordination Specialist at the VA, and she can do a lot more for you." So anyway, I called up Valerie Duffy, and we got together and had lunch, and next thing I knew, she was sending me over to the Veterans Affairs Training Center over at American Lake, right on the south end of Fort Lewis, at American Lake out of Tacoma, Washington. and I spent 10 and a half weeks down there continuing my training. And then that's when they started showing me about all this technology that helps us blind people, like things that talk to you and things that can tell you colors and how to use a computer and when I started, I could type with 2 fingers, hunt and peck. I now type with all 10 of my fingers, and I can run a computer. I just completed last year a 350-page history of my family using the computer. My daughter-in-law did all the editing, but I did all the typing myself. Came out 350 pages. A lot of typing time, and but I can use a computer. I can use an iPhone that's been issued to me by the Veterans Affairs, and I have to thank them immensely for their continued training and the things they've taught me and the things they've provided me. And so it's not I don't consider it amazing. I just consider it good training, and I think I've just had an attitude. I'm not going to let this disability take me down. I'm going to beat it, and I'm going to stay with it and learn as much as I can, and that's why I do some of the goofy things I guess I do, like hang flags at 3 o'clock in the morning for the folks here at Valley View. Just my way of trying to return back to the people that helped me, and the staff here are outstanding. They've accepted me and taken me into their needs, and I've been able to help them do things that.
How many flags do you have in your collection, and how in the world do you know which flag is which?
Well,
it's a secret you have that you've never told me.
It's a secret I have that I never told you. Okay. Well, I want a flag, so I call up a place called Idaho Flagpoles over in Meridian, and I say, I want this flag. And they say, okay, we'll mail it to you. And I give them my debit card number, and when it comes, I have somebody describe it to me, and then I put it in a Ziploc bag. It's about a gallon size Ziploc bag, and I fold it over. It's folded triangular like you fold the American flag. I fold them all, and then I put in Braille on the outside what the name of that flag is. And I collected them basically on what I've needed. I started out with a couple of American flags. That's how I got started here, and put those up and on special days. And I thought, hey, this is fun and this is neat. So I started collecting flags. And to answer your question, as of yesterday or today, I have 51 different flags.
It's incredible. And during the Olympics, you hung up. Tell them during the Olympics what you did.
Usually what I do with the crossover here that crosses over from the west side to the east side or whatever, right over the bar area, it's just a great place to hang flags. And I usually pick that, and I've centered the area, which is usually right over the sink. I have a little marker on that, and I put the flag that I'm trying to emphasize, like you were talking about the Olympic flag. I put that horizontal, and then on each side I try to put a couple of flags, and always the American flag goes to the left. That always goes to the left. Anytime the American flag is flowing, it goes to the left with the stars on the left side. I go with that flag, and then I think I put in the state of Idaho flag, because we had Olympians from there, and I'm trying to remember what other ones I put up for on the other end of them. But I stretch those across that crossover, because it's very conspicuous. It's right over the bar area, and most of our activities are in the bar area. People can look up and see those flags. So that's basically what I do. And then the Olympics, I also put up 14 different countries. I've got 14 flags from various countries. I always start out with a Greek flag, goes on the left. It always is the first flag to come in when they come in on the entrance to the Olympics, and then the country that's hosting it goes at the very end. So I put I can't remember, I think there was something like 17 flags I put up. And
17 flags.
17 flags. Veterans Day, there'll be 16 flags put up. There'll be 15 of them across the crossover and on each west and east part, and then there'll be one probably down in the lobby here coming into the dining room. And
boy, that's a lot of work.
Well, it takes 2 hours. It takes me 2 hours to put those flags up. I prefer to do it by myself because I know what the flags are, how I want them. I put them in order. I can read the braille on them. And I had a lady come in one morning at 3 o'clock in the morning when I was putting them up, and I didn't even know she was there. And she says, "Oh, I took these flags out of the bags here for you."
Oh, boy.
And I says, "Oh, wait a minute now. Those are in order, and if you took them out." So I had to have her describe those 2-3 flags.
Well, Bert, we're going to ask you to hold that thought right there. More coming up. Welcome home, Garden Plaza, Valley View, KIDO Talk Radio. Welcome back to Garden Plaza of Valley View. Here we are once again talking to Bert. Pamela Sternberg joining us, General Manager, and learning about, a very important day coming up.
With Veterans Day coming up, Bert plays a huge part in our ceremonies here. His flag display is something that everybody should stop in and see. I don't think that you could see that anywhere else. But wanting to talk about he helped Sherry, my activities director, with the actual ceremony, and we have a lot of veterans in the building.
Yeah, I don't know how many we got now, but I'm sure we have quite a few. The flags will go up, and since Veterans Day is on Saturday and the program will be on Monday, unfortunately, the flags will have to go up on Sunday morning. That is Veterans Day. The program will be the following day, so the flags will go up on Sunday, and they'll be up all day Sunday and all day Monday. And if some of the little ladies that I enjoy around here ask me, I might leave them up for a week. They always want to know, how come you take the flags down? We like them. So anyway, but, they kind of wear out after a while, and they kind of lose their impact. As far as the program, about, I'd say probably 10 years ago, when Kim Obrimsky was here as the recreation director, we got talking about Veterans Day and what we need to do. So I said, well, why don't I write up a script on maybe how I think it should go. And along with that script, I put together, I can't remember. There's about 15 songs. They're all military and patriotic type songs. And I gather those up and put them in a file, copy them to a CD, and that's what we use to run through the whole program. Like the first thing you'll hear on Veterans Day when we get ready to bring in the flag will be Adjutant's Call. That is a bugle call that usually it's performed to call the guards, the flag bearers together to get ready to post the colors. And the next song we'll play after the short bugle call will be Presentation of Colors, and this is the song that they play when they bring the American flag into the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Usually when they bring Congress together, that's the song they play. when they bring the flag in. Then we'll start with that. We'll stop it at that time. We'll pause it, and we'll have folks stand. We'll have them sing the Star Spangled Banner, and then we will.
Well, you've got it figured out, Bert. This is military precision. You've got it figured out here.
Yeah, and then we play. After the Star Spangled Banner, do the Pledge of Allegiance. Then I play a song called the Military Medley, which is all the theme songs for the military, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, or Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force. And we play that medley, which is sung, and then we go into playing Assembly, which is a bugle call to assemble the troops. And we start out with the United States Army. These are all in order that they were when they were chartered by the U.S. or the Continental Congress. So we go Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and Air Force. And we play the theme song for that branch. And then Sherry will call roll and have each veteran stand when his name is called. And we'll go right on through it. And then at the tail end, we will play, I play the hymn that's usually played with the Navy for burial at sea. And that's is played, and then I have a recording of the rifle salute that was done at Arlington National Cemetery here a number of years ago, and we play that, and then we play immediately we play taps, and then I have the folks sit down and we play Amazing Grace on the bagpipes. So that's our string of music, that we play for Veterans Day, and that's my contribution to the veterans.
It's a beautiful ceremony, and I've seen it twice now. This will be my third year. And I can say that there's not a dry eye in the audience by the time we're done. And I think that all of our veterans very much appreciate how much ceremony and thought and correctness. I mean, you go to some ceremonies and you keep it very in the order that it's supposed to be, the roll call. Everything has been set to precision to honor the ceremony itself. And you've helped to keep that piece alive. And I think that all of our veterans, like I said, there's not a dry eye in the crowd.
Well, I just made two more I couldn't find the copy we've been using, so I made two new copies of the music program. And we got our choice. We used to start the presentation when the color guard brings the colors in to post them, that we used to play Stars and Stripes Forever. And but I made two versions of it. The one that I personally like is the presentation of colors. It's a little more thoughtful. It's a little slower. It's not quite as jivey in my mind. So I'm going to let Sherry and color guards decide which one they want to use.
So it does take quite a few different people to make this day happen. Bert's not the only one.
Oh, no.
Sherry's a huge part, but there's other residents and the color guard that comes in. And Bert, you work with the VA so well, whether it's the Blind Coalition who actually meets here. They come in, they use our meeting space once a month.
Yeah,
we get their leftover cookies. That's all I remember.
Yeah, we do have our meetings here. We have a monthly support meeting, which is not only for veterans. It's open to anybody that's visually impaired or blind. Here in the TV room, here at Valley View, we do that once a month, and that's a support meeting that is it's a Veterans Affairs Commission for the Blind program, and we just host it. And then quarterly we have our business meeting for the Blinded Veterans Association here also. and we meet for a couple hours here, and very fortunately and very graciously, the Valley View has allowed us to meet in the recreation or the TV room every quarter, and they set the room up for us. They put the tables the way we want them. They bring us coffee, and the vets really enjoy it. And I'm past president of the Blinded Veterans Association for the state of Idaho and 3 counties in Oregon on the east side of Oregon, and we have our meetings here, and it's really a nice place to meet. It's quiet, and we enjoy it. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like a good life. Bert, we've got about a minute left in this segment. Why do you love the folks here at Garden Plaza of Valley View?
What do I want them?
What do you like about them? You're always saying how this is the best place. And
Oh, how I like them?
yeah.
Well, they're very friendly. I've made a number of lifelong friends here as far as I'm concerned. They're very interested. I'm scared to death coming down the walkways on each side of the atrium, while swinging my cane back and forth. That's 58 inches of cane swinging out in front of me. I'm afraid I'm going to hit somebody or run into somebody. But people tell me that people watch me coming, and they move aside. A lot of them move aside, and they never tell me that they're even there. So I'm assuming, I got free rein. I can just walk right down. But I've only tapped one lady's ankle with my cane one time, and I apologized to her. But and I did run into one lady one day. She was coming out of her room backwards to lock her door, I guess, and I walked right into her, and she started to go down, and I grabbed her and held her up so she didn't.
Well, that's good news, Bert. Hang on. More coming up next. KIDO Talk Radio. Welcome back to Garden Plaza of Valley View. Welcome home on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Kevin Miller, Pamela Sternberg joining us, the general manager. We've got Bert Strom, who has really just shown what service commitment is, not only to the Forest Service, to our nation, to fellow veterans, but to the folks here, Pam.
Yeah, when we talk about service, and he lives it. And I think that we can all take a lesson that you relearned your daily living when you became blind. You never stopped enjoying your passions in life and found new ones. Your last travel to Arizona, I think they had to poke and prod you a little bit to go this last time, but I think you found in computers and electronics, you found a whole new world. How does that feel at your age to find that kind of technology compared to when you were hunting and pecking with 2 fingers?
Well, I've been doing computers and all this electronic stuff for 12 years since I've been here. It's nothing new. My main computer was starting to not talk to me. Well, my computer talks to me. That's everything I've got talks to me. And I was going to bring some of that along and demonstrate, but then not now. Anyway, I needed a new computer, so I talked to the VIS coordinator, and she says, well, Tucson is where they do all electronic stuff now. They're the experts down there, so that's where we want you to go. So I said, okay, I need a new computer and I need a new iPhone because they're both out of date. And, it's a little scary when you're totally blind and your son puts you on the airplane here in Boise and says, okay, Dad, you're going to have to lay over in Salt Lake and then they'll take you down to Tucson. It's kind of scary when you can't see what's going on and you're sitting in a wheelchair in a big airport. But I made it by myself, and there's no problem. Anyway, I got down there, and they showed me this new program. It's called Guide, and here it talks to you, too. And I'm not sure that I'm going to like it, but it does talk to me. I've got a monitor that, and I won't hit that mic, the monitor's about this wide and about that tall. And I think they made it special for blind people or visually impaired people that have to blow things up on the screen to be able to see it.
Well, yeah, because your monitor is about 2 foot by 1 foot, and you can't see a thing.
I can't see a thing. I could turn it off, but that's what it came with, and it's different. I had to stay down there for 4 weeks and learn how to use it and use this new program. And the gal that taught me, real sweet little Vietnamese gal that was probably about that tall.
That'd be about 4 foot.
About 4 foot, and she's been blind since birth. She's never seen a light or anything. But I'll tell you, she can walk around a computer. She knows a computer inside out, iPhones. She set up my latest iPhone for me and taught me how to use this program on there. I just really appreciated that gal. And
Well, it's amazing technology, Bert, how it can enhance all our lives.
yeah, oh yeah, and I'm next week, this Friday, day after tomorrow, I'm going down to Twin Falls to give a presentation to veterans caregivers. Most of these are wives down in with the veterans in Twin Falls, and give them a presentation on the technology that's available for veterans to use to help them have a more normal life. And that's things like iPhones and computers and talking this, talking that, Victor readers that play music for you or take notes, and all the stuff that I've been using. And now we're getting into the Amazon Alexa. You've heard of that, and you can talk to her, and she talks back and tells you all kinds of good stuff, and you can get the news and just about anything you want on it. And another nice piece of technology that's kind of advancing to fellas that can't learn to use a computer. They can talk to Alexa, and she'll tell them just about anything they want to know.
Kind of like having a new wife.
Yeah, just about. Yeah. I one day I said Alexa, and I didn't quite. You're supposed to say Alexa and tell her what you want to do. So shortly thereafter, and I kind of hesitated, and she says, "Well, if you're going to ignore me, I'm going to go wash my hair."
But it's amazing how that kind of stuff can change your life. And Carol at the front desk, one of our employees, actually bought an Alexa based on your explanation of what it does.
Oh yeah,
It does amazing things compared to what you thought was you could see in your lifetime.
They brought it out one morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. The gal from the VA brought it out. We set mine up. We took it down for the support meeting, hooked it up, and we had fun playing with it and it does all. I mean, I read the news on it. I just says, "Tell me the news, Alexa. Tell me the news," and she reads off about 5 different things: NBC, CBS, Reuters, all the news stuff. And I sit there for about 10 minutes and drink a cup of coffee and listen to what's going on in the world. And it's becoming a thing they're pushing very heavy down at Tucson. In fact, in each one of the rooms they had the smaller version, the Dot, and they were teaching a lot of the vets how to use it down there. And so yeah, anything that talks anymore is getting to be, and commands that you can tell something to do something for you, and it does it, is amazing.
Well, and I guess the last thing we can talk about is Bert made us famous. Tell him how your bike riding experience went, and when you did your fundraiser for the coalition.
Oh, I shouldn't tell you all about that. That's fun stuff, you know.
It's
yes.
Fun stuff.
Okay, let's wind this up. I also, well, I mean, I know you're getting tired of listening. I ride a bike, and I tell people I ride a bike, and they say, "How can you ride a bike?" I ride a tandem bike with my son.
Ah.
The only bad part about it, I got to sit in the back and pedal. He sits up in front and steers. Sometimes I figure he's not pedaling. And, so anyway, we ride a tandem bike. We go over to Sun Valley quite a bit and ride up and down along the Wood River, which is really fun, except when my son tells me, "Gee, you ought to see this babe ahead of us." she's wearing this and wearing hardly anything, and here I am and I can't see nothing. Anyway,
I appreciate that insight, Bert. We all do.
anyway,
Especially the babes here listening to you right now.
yeah. And I also cross-country ski, but I've been doing that for 80 years. I started skiing in Alaska. Oh, by the way, I was born in Alaska. Anyway, first pair of skis were made by an old Norwegian, and I've been cross-country skiing ever since. And my son and I, we go to Sun Valley in the wintertime, cross-country ski. We go up to Bogus Basin and cross-country ski up there. If we get a little bit of snow around here, we find a place where we can cross-country ski someplace down around the Greenbelt. But I do both of those, and people keep saying, it's amazing, it's amazing. And I kind of got a little bit tired of that amazing business. So if you read the article, or if they showed you the article they wrote for the paper here, they stuck it back to me and said, well, Bert doesn't like the word amazing. He's just a regular person. And and the last thing they said, and he can provide a mean batch of chocolate chip cookies. Well, to graduate from cooking down at the Commission for the Blind, I had to do chocolate chip cookies, which they were perfect. I got those made and baked, and they thought they were great. We used them at Thanksgiving down there for the staff. And then over at American Lake, I did the same thing. To graduate from cooking over there, I chose to do chocolate chip cookies. And before I could get one of them after I baked them, the staff got word of it, and all the staff from American Lake Blind Rehab came in, and the cookies were all gone. So that's my treat to my friends as chocolate chip cookies.
Well, Bert, we appreciate you joining us here, and thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
All right, Pam, final thought?
You know, there's a lot of amazing people, to use Bert's word, that live at Valley View, but we just call them fellow residents and friends. And I think that that's the most important thing we have here at Valley View is the friendships that we've made, and live our life to the best that we can and be the best people that we can be with each other.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you all. You're listening to Welcome Home on KIDO Talk Radio.